Hi, my name is Andrea, and I'm a foster parent. I have 3 children of my own. We've given birth twice while fostering, and we've had 16 goodbyes. Some of those have been us doing respite for others, emergency care, kids just for the night, or we've had kids come and stay for as long as 2 years. The current placements we have right now bring us up to a family of 5. So 3 of our own and 2 in foster care. The 2 that are in our home right now, one came to us pregnant, so we ended up with a bonus baby in our home that we love, and we love our foster daughter so much. Fostering, as you know, is tough. You start off with so much capacity, so much time, love, extra. You have extra. And as you open up your door, as you welcome people in, that's when you lose your capacity. You lose that extra. You've given it. You've given it to someone new, and you love to do that. But you also find yourself needing God more than ever. You are at the end of yourself, and you realize that these aren't just our kids. These are God's kids. These are He cares for them. And that's why He's opened up our home. It can also be one of the most isolating things you do, because the temptation is to feel that foster care is too hard for other people. You feel like you can't let people in, because sometimes you do share with people and you realize, I told them too much, and now foster care is too much for them, and they can no longer support what foster care really looks like. And so you get to feel like maybe fostering is just easier for other people. Maybe we're just bad at this. Maybe this is the wrong child, the wrong home. Maybe it's the wrong time. But then when you go to God, when you search the scripture, and if He opens up the hearts in the home, that just becomes your North Star, and you just have to keep going. But it doesn't mean the circumstances get easier. It doesn't mean the system is more supportive suddenly. So we reached that point for ourselves where we were very isolated. We felt like we couldn't really let anybody in. And that means you don't get a break. Your kids don't get a break. You don't really know where to turn. And sometimes you can't turn to family. Sometimes your church doesn't know or understand how to help, even though they want to help, they just don't know. And so it's just tough. It is tough. And yet it is one of the most rewarding things we've ever done, because we have realized just over time, what started off as, hey, we have extra, turned into, okay, we don't have enough on our own, but God is enough. And we are not extraordinary, but He is extraordinary. And just every time our door opens, whether it's for an hour or a night, for respite, for emergency care, for 2 years, it doesn't matter. Every interaction is a chance to share the gospel and plant a seed of gospel hope in the lives of children from hard places. So the cool thing is that actually spilled over to my whole family, where they get to come along for these gospel interactions. If you are providing respite, if you are in other people's homes, you have a chance to show God's love to them. Even if it's just for a couple hours, you have no idea what God's love can do until you see it. And then you just have all these interactions where you just realize He's really real. God is real. And He can do far beyond what we can ask or think. And for these children that honestly, sometimes the world will look and say, they're kind of hopeless. They're kind of too far gone. They're too damaged. God will give you the eyes to look at them and see hope. Didn't mean to preach, but it's just what we have seen, and it's true. And because we have biological kids, it doesn't diminish our love for them that we're inviting an extra. Does it take some of our time and capacity? Absolutely. But they also get to see the love of God blessing them, but also blessing these other kids, and they get to see a mission field in the home, which is amazing. But we've gone through seasons where it's just, that, and you can't see it. You're continuing on, but you're in the mire. You don't see the end. The beginning is exciting, right? But then you're in the daily, and it's tough. And you don't know when there's an end. You may not see any progress with the case. You may feel like the family's not even trying. And you may have to pray really hard for God's love to show love to a family who may have broken this child. And it's very hard. And like, we can't do it on our own. But when you do let people in who love God, they want to love on your kids. So often I thought that people just didn't want to help, or people didn't care, but they just didn't know how to help. The very cool thing that we've run into this last year is a nonprofit called Adoption Helpers. When I heard about them, my thought was, this is what Greenville County has needed for a really long time. It's what we were trying to be to other families before we got a long-term placement and found that we didn't have a lot of extra time and capacity. But Adoption Helpers comes into homes and they love on your kids. And my first thought was, okay, I don't know much about them. I don't know, they'll be coming into my home. There's always a little bit of concern with that when you're letting new people into your home. But they were recommended to me by a good friend that I trust, and they were all background checked. The really cool thing to me is that they had connections with Flourishing the Families, so they know trauma. That is always a big concern when you let people into your home and they don't know trauma, is that you don't know if they're going to understand, and you don't know if they're going to be kind about what they see and not assume the worst about you as the foster parent. So we ended up going to one of the Adoption Helpers events at Sky Zone, and we were a little nervous. We actually were like an hour late, I think an hour and a half late. We were so late. There ended up being a bus problem for our foster daughter, and we had to go somewhere else to pick her up, and it just comedy of errors. But we went. And we were like, it's probably too late for us to even go do anything as a couple, but we're just gonna like sit and let them have a good time, and we'll just see. We're just gonna go. And when we went, we got to meet just so many people that you could just feel the love of Jesus, and that they would just spend their extra time to come and bless not only our foster kids, but our biological kids who have just as much come along for all of this. And love on them was just amazing. And I think we got like 45 minutes to an hour to just sit and connect, and we needed that. So then being able to go to that event really helped us just feel comfortable. We got to meet some people that were a part of the organization, and then we opened up our home. And it sounds like I'm saying we opened up our home like we did them a service. They blessed us. And you know the difference between like a babysitter and somebody who really wants to help? That was the difference. It's love. Like, that was the biggest blessing for me, was realizing that they were going to love on our kids. And I was able to communicate with them ahead of time, our routines. I went ahead and just got the kids ready for bed to just make it an easy night. And it was an easy night. My husband and I got in the car, and we were just so sure that it was going to get canceled for some reason, because so many things fall through for us with childcare or with kids getting sick last minute or whatever. We get in the car, we're like, what do we do? So we went to a restaurant, and then after that, we like hit a point in the night where we're like, what do people do late at night without kids? I don't know. Let's go see. Let's go Google this and that that's nearby. And so, as lame as that probably sounds, like, to just realize for 4 hours that these responsibilities you carry around every day, gladly, like, it's a privilege. But these responsibilities you carry around can feel heavy. And when you walk away and there's a moment of freedom, you realize what you were carrying, and you realize you get a little break from it, and you just breathe. And you just can't put that into words. You can't. And then to come home and feel like my house was just filled with peace and love, and my kids were just loved on, and even my one who was pretty disobedient, they were really nice about her. And yeah, they just loved on my kids. And I think that's the church, like church, capital C, is loving on others, even if they're sometimes not deserving, or you don't understand the background they came from, you don't know their story, you may never know their story, but to give that family a safe place in their home, a chance to get out, maybe even get out with their biological kids that they haven't gotten to spend time with in a long time because they've added extra into their home. You just don't know, and you probably never will know the impact that you're making until you get to heaven.